be Sally Wurr. I think it's Wurr. Hope I'm not butchering the last name. All right, cool. I am so glad I said that well. How are you doing, Sally?
I am doing fabulous, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. I'm so glad to hear that. Now I have to ask, where's your accent from?
Oh, geez, I don't have an accent. What are you talking about? My father was Air Force, so I lived all over the U.S. And so I
Oh,
just pick up wherever I'm at or whoever I'm around, and
well,
and
I
uh,
must
yeah,
have just heard it.
I must have been around. So whatever accent you're hearing is whoever I was around the last time that had an accent. So
All right. Well, that is so good. And thank you so much for smiling. I appreciate seeing a smile. So, if you would like to go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about yourself, why you decided to write this book, and how we can get a hold of this book, I would appreciate it.
absolutely, Jeff. I wrote the book. I'll share a little bit about it, but it's the first book of the trilogy that was inspired by uh, Dr. Smiley and Michelle Mraz. They certainly are my mentors along on this journey. But truly, what I want to share with people today is I like to start with a question, right? Do you know where you're going to? And furthermore, do you like what life is showing you? I didn't write those words. Diana Ross did many years ago. But when my life fell apart, those words found me. And they asked me something I hadn't dared ask myself in years. And that was I awake in my own life? Or was I just functioning through it? So the truth is, I didn't plan on writing a book. I wasn't trying to be profound. I was simply trying to survive a storm that had arrived on my doorstep. It was March of 2020. Remember that month? The world was on pause. But for me, everything sped up. My husband, Paul, my rock, been married for 45 years. He'd gone out for a walk on this beautiful sunny day in Colorado. As he was walking up the driveway, I noticed he was walking funny. And when I met him at the door, I noticed that his words were slurring. And when he looked at me, I saw that fear in his face, that fear that something was wrong and he didn't know how to stop it. I rushed him to the emergency room, my heart racing, fear flowing through me, the unknown, right? The unknown in life. And that hospital visit turned into tests, 3 days of testing. The tests turned into answers, and those answers changed everything because life doesn't always whisper. Sometimes it screams at you. Sadly, my husband was diagnosed with advanced cancer, and he died 4 months later, all in the middle of this COVID pandemic. And that day, it shouted at me. It says, "Wake up, wake up! You can't keep going where you're going." Um, but it also said to wake up not just for the circumstances I was in, but for that soul that I needed to refine and redefine. And there's that moment in everybody's life, in every journey, where time splits into the before and the after. Before, I was doing everything right. I was running a business, I was being a wife, I was being strong and resilient. And then this after, I was standing in this rubble of what I thought life was supposed to be. And I like to use the analogy I was on this iceberg all by myself in the middle of this big ocean trying to find my way. But in that stillness, something unexpected happened. I found clarity. You see, when life strips away all of your titles, your routines, your plans, what's left is truth. I didn't want to just survive the storm. I wanted to grow through it, to rise from it, to turn my pain into purpose. My husband, Paul, even though he lost his life, I was still here and I'm here for a purpose. And my truth was this: I didn't want to survive the storm. I wanted to grow through it, to rise from it, to turn my pain into purpose. So I started to write, not as an author, not as a speaker, but as a woman who needed to find and hear her own voice again. Now, I wish I could tell you that the words flowed freely. They did not. Writing this book meant reliving through that pain, peeling back those layers to figure out who I was because I had lost myself. And fear. Fear showed up every single day, sitting on that shoulder saying, who do you think you are writing a book? What if no one reads it? And worst of all, what if they do and they judge you for it? Fears most of us have. But here's what I learned: fear isn't the enemy. It's a sign that you're standing on that very edge, that precipice of transformation. So I wrote anyway, in between caregiving, crying, in between meetings and moments of doubt. I wrote because I knew somebody else was silently asking the same questions I had. Someone else needed to be told, you're not crazy. You're not broken. You are awakening. That's where the title of my book, well, part of where the power of awakening, the name of my book, came from. Um, there's a sacredness in grief, and it reveals what matters when you take the time to figure it out. When Paul could no longer share his conversations with me, I learned to listen with my heart instead of my ears. When I lost the life I knew, I discovered the other one that was waiting beneath it, waiting to rise. And through loss, I found a message I knew I had to share. Your story, yes, your story, my story, has power. Not after you have it all together, not once the chaos ends, right now, in the midst of the storm, it cracks. Because those cracks, that's how the light gets in. And so when you have these cracks in whatever's going on in your life, allow that light to flow through because that's what helps lead you to where you're going. The Power of Awakening isn't a memoir, it's a mirror. It reflects the hard truth that you can't awaken to your full self without facing the parts of you that have been asleep. It's a call to remember who you are and to reclaim who you're becoming. I didn't write it to be a bestseller. I wrote it to be a lifeline for the women and men who feel invisible, for the people questioning their purpose, and for the soul who knows there's more, but doesn't know where to begin. So I ask you now, where in your life are you just going through the motions? What truth are you avoiding because you think you're not worthy or ready? What version of you is beginning to rise, is begging to rise? This is your moment to wake up, to uncover, to reflect, and to rise. That's the Wurr effect. That's the power of awakening. And it's not just my story, it's yours too. So don't wait for life to get easier. Don't wait for the storm to pass. Awaken now because someone, somewhere, is waiting for that ripple of your awakening to help them rise too. Thank you for allowing me to be here. You can reach me at sallywurr.com. You can also find my book at Amazon, but it's also available on my website, sallywurr at sallywurr.com, or email is sallywurr@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Sally. And the whole story of Paul was amazing, and it really made me feel something, and it made me think of him. And I'm so sorry that he had to pass so young because he died too soon.
I agree. I agree, but we're still here for a purpose, and people sometimes forget that in the grieving process that you don't want to lose what you're doing and where you're going uh, by I hate to use the word wallowing, but staying over here and having a private pity party or whatever it is it doesn't move the needle forward. And we all have to learn to, this happened for a reason, and it's time to move on. It's time to grow and be who you are supposed to be. And that's what Power of Awakening is supposed to be. It's the first of a trilogy. It's Power of Awakening, Power of Purpose, and Power of Legacy. And quick story, if I have a second, is the actual book, Power of Awakening. That is a great story. And you might want to ask Dr. Smiley whose front door that is on that beautiful cover of that book.
I take it's his.
It is. It
Uh,
is. It was the beginning. It's a great story, and I'm so very thankful to have had him and Dr. Michelle Mraz come into my life at the time that they did, because they came in really just before, during, and after my husband's sickness. So anyway,
I
yay!
can't even.
Hey, there's Kenny Jr. Hey there, happy birthday, belated.
Yeah, we just want to say thanks for the shout out to our door. We're keeping it now.
That's great. That's great. Thank you
All right.
so
Well,
much.
Kenny's been doing the moderating. He's actually been moving people on and off the screen. So
Well, thank
I'm
you,
going to give him
Kenny.
a shout out for that too.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
You're
You may
doing a
now
great
continue.
job.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right. So we thank you so much. And I
Appreciate
hope
it.
everything goes well for you.